Spin-offs are part of a prevalent tradition in TV shows, causing an established narrative universe to expand congruously.
You still owe Archie $2. Give it to him. Yeah, somebody give me something, huh? I'm feeling awful light.
The next-door neighbours to the Bunkers in All in the Family spun off into a show called The Jeffersons, for example. All in the Family also spun off Gloria, a show based on Archie Bunker's daughter. Maude, who was Archie Bunker's wife, Edith's sister, was spun off into her own show, Maude, and Maude would have a maid named Florida Evans, who was the mother in another show called Good Times. This usually happened due to the success of a particular show, as it would tend to guarantee an audience for the next one. Other great examples include Happy Days, which led to Laverne and Shirley, as well as Mork and Mindy, The $6 Million Man, which led to The Bionic Woman, or Beverly Hills 90210, which led to Melrose Place. In addition to expanding on a shared universe, another common technique that has occurred throughout TV history is bringing two separate universes together in a crossover. Drew Carey and his friends on The Drew Carey Show lived in Cleveland, where Carey had a home brewery in his garage. During one particular episode, the gang drives an ice cream truck to NYC and eventually causes traffic problems. A policeman appears to help, and it's none other than Detective James Martinez, a character from the TV series NYPD. In this moment, the two realities of The Drew Carey Show and NYPD would collide to suddenly become the same shared universe. Both happening all along, side by side, without any conflict. This would of course mean that other crossovers, like the time Drew Carey crossed over into Ellen, would necessarily extend to the same universe as NYPD, such that it would not be surprising to see Detective Martinez appear in Ellen. Nor would it be surprising then to see Drew Carey show up in Hill Street Blues, as Hill Street Blues and NYPD Blue would share the same reality, linked by a character named Buck Naked who graced both stages and thus officially caused the crossover. But sometimes TV shows cross over in a way that creates a paradox. This tends to happen when it's literally impossible that two universes could collide, as if something was and wasn't at the same time. In another episode of The Drew Carey Show, for example, the gang winds up trying to repair a roof, and in doing so utilizes a VHS self-help tape, which is hosted by Tim Taylor, the handyman character from Home Improvement. As a result, the reality of The Drew Carey Show and the reality of Home Improvement come together, which is not in and of itself a problem. But in another episode of The Drew Carey Show, Drew Carey finds a man stuck in a nearby tree, who happens to be Tim Allen, the actor who plays Tim Taylor in Home Improvement. And in fact, Drew Carey even refers to Tim Allen as Tim Allen. So how could Tim Allen play himself, but also play his character? When Alf dreams he's on Gilligan's Island and Gilligan, the skipper, the professor, and Marianne all appear in his dream, that's one thing, because it's a dream. But when Phoebe's twin sister Ursula, who was the character in Mad About You, which had Carl Reiner guest star as Alan Brady, his character from The Dick Van Dyke Show, shows up in Friends, this created a paradox, because in another episode of Friends, the characters are shown watching The Dick Van Dyke Show. These paradoxes are examples of non-continuous crossovers, and they're BS. But we mustn't agonize. The truth is, a fallacy arises out of the minds of the writers and producers for thwarting the play. But there is one problem that is driving me crazy. Embroiled in competition to have the best birthday party ever for her son little Ricky, Lucy of the I Love Lucy show tries to get her husband Ricky Ricardo to get Superman to show up. Because Ricky is in show business, it would seem natural that he would be able to find someone who would do a good job playing the role. But eventually he fails, so Lucy dresses up as Superman herself and gets stuck out on the window ledge of their apartment building. Well, to everyone's surprise, the quote, real Superman arrives to save the day anyway. But was this really Superman, or was it just a guy dressed in a suit to look like Superman? This I Love Lucy episode first aired in 1957, during the same year The Adventures of Superman was running, being played by the actor George Reeves. No one on the crossover episode ever referred to him as George Reeves, they just called him Superman. The problem here is that I Love Lucy was set in New York City, but Superman was set in the fictional city of Metropolis, so basically the guy had to just be a guy in a suit, and just happened to be the same guy who played Superman. It's the only way to go here to solve the riddle. For both series are history, and the ambiguity is permanent. Oh, how I abhor TV.